Science, Bangalore. She obtained her PhD in Water Resources Management from the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur in 2022. Her Master of Engineering ME in Water Resources and Hydraulic Engineering from Jadavpur University, Kolkata, India in 2016, and her Bachelor of Engineering BE in Civil Engineering from University of Burdwan in 2013. Her research vision focuses on developing sustainable solutions for water and wastewater treatment through advanced adsorbents, membrane filtrations, photocatalysis, and bio-based materials. She is particularly interested in addressing emerging pollutants, desalination, and resource recovery while promoting circular economy principles. She has published widely in leading journals. She is a co inventor on multiple Indian patents and has been recognized with the prestigious fellowships and awards, including the DST Inspire Faculty Award, ANRF National Postdoctoral Fellowship, Indo French Prawns Fellowship, Vice Kiran Fellowships, and selection as a nanoscale engineering investigator 2024. She works closely with the industry and international partners to translate lab scale innovations into practical solutions for water security and circular economy. So, with all this, we welcome you, Soumi, to deliver
Thank,
your lecture and inspire us about this new topic into our professional field. Welcome.
thank you so much, Dr. Rajani, for the introduction. So first I want to share my slide. Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, Dr. Soumi.
Yeah, okay. Just want to minimize the. Good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction, and it is my pleasure to share my research in front of you. So today I will speak about the microplastic, a hidden threat to the urogenital health, and its removal from water. Okay, so I will discuss first about what are the microplastic, how the human are exposed to the microplastics, some of the health impacts, specifically the microplastic contamination, impact of microplastic on urogenital health, then how we can tackle the microplastic from its source. And finally, I will share some of my research, which is discuss the advanced treatment technology for the microplastic from the contaminated water. And finally, I will conclude some concludatory remarks. So plastic are one of the useful invention of mankind, but when the plastic is mismanaged, it can cause hazards. It is reported that annually over 430 million tons of plastic are produced, with two-thirds becoming the waste and polluting the nature and the ecosystem and our aquatic life. When the plastics is break down into small plastic particle, it forms the microplastics. Microplastics are specifically the tiny plastic particles. The size is less than 5 millimeter. It can produced through the different biological degradation like microbial degradation process, different chemical degradation, including the oxidation, photo-oxidation, the thermal degradation process like exposed to heat and fluctuation of the temperature, and also the UV degradation process. If the plastic particle is exposed to sunlight for a long time, it can produce the microplastics. And also the physical degradation, including the weathering, abrasion, and friction due to the weather change and air, etc. So microplastics can be found in everywhere, like air, water, and soil. And where do the microplastic exactly come from? So as I mentioned, that microplastic is an anthropogenic pollutant. It is produced due to the mismanagement of plastic pollution. It is the mismanagement of plastic waste. In addition to that, the microplastic can be intentionally produced from in the cosmetics, some of the cosmetics or personal care products, the nanoplastic and microplastic may present. Some industrial effluent, some plastic pallet, synthetic textile may contain the microplastics. Fishing net also may contain the microplastics. So from these are the primary and some emerging source of coming the microplastic to the environment. So how the microplastic is come contact with the water body. So in this picture, you can see that microplastic, if the untreated wastewater is directly discarded into the natural water body, it may contain the ample amount of microplastic. Along with that, surface runoff, riverian inputs, and the airflow and wind flow can causes the microplastic deposition in the water. And then the microplastic can be absorbed by the aquatic biota like fish and other small aquatic organism. And through different process, it can move up to the food chain, and it is come to the human health, and then human can get contaminated through the microplastics. So there are some size classification of plastic particle. So if the plastic particle size is greater than 25 millimeter, it called the macroplastic. If the plastic size is between 5 to 25 millimeter, it called the mesoplastic. If the size is less than 5 millimeter, it is microplastic. And if the size is even more smaller, like less than 1 micrometer, it called the nanoplastic particle. When the plastic particle size is lesser, it considered more hazardous pollutant. From this picture, you can compare the size of microplastic to some known element, like for the grain size of a sand, grain size is 90 micrometer. The human hair size is 180 micrometer. The drinking water straw size, the diameter is around 6,000 micrometer, whereas the microplastic size is less than 5,000 micrometer. So the microplastic and nanoplastic both can come inside knowingly or unknowingly through different sources. So there are some facts about the microplastic we need to know. The microplastic is from some plastic particles. So how the plastic particle is made of and what is the properties of the polymer, it depends upon the it depends the toxicity of the microplastic, if it is polyethylene, polypropylene, polyvinyl chloride, etc. So at the time of plastic production, some additive intentionally was added, like plasticizer, color, filler. This additive may cause additional problem to the microplastics. Along with that, the product type, size of the microplastic, as I mentioned, the morphology, like if it is a fragment or bead or film, it depends upon the microplastic's morphology, the toxicity depends. And also the color, if there are some color in the microplastic, then color may cause additional problems. So these are the some common factors which cause the toxicity of the microplastics. So how the human are exposed to the microplastics? There are three main sources of human exposure. One is the oral route, like through the ingestion of drinking water, food, like fish, salt, and vegetables, milk, which may contain the microplastic when we ingest, through the oral route, when we take this food, then microplastic can come contact in our body. The second pathway is the inhalation, that is the nasal pathway. Through the airborne dust, microplastic containing dust can come through our nasal pathway. And another source is the dermal exposure. As I mentioned, that there are some medicine, some cosmetics product are there which contain the nanoplastic, which through this we can come contact with the micro and nanoplastics. There are some interesting study which finds the microplastic in 93% of the bottled water. This study is published by State University of New York. It shows that, in our India, we generally use the Bisleri packet water. It may contain around 5,000 particles of microplastics. So as I mentioned that knowingly or unknowingly, we are consuming the microplastic containing water, as the particle size is very small and very tiny. Another additional problem with the microplastic, that it can act as a vector of other co-pollutant. Like if the microplastic is present in the wastewater stream, if in the wastewater other contaminant like the pathogen, pesticides, heavy metals, or other microphobic chemical compound present, it may absorb on the surface of the microplastic. Then the microplastic, when consumed by some fish, or it move up to the human health food chain and come to the human health, then this absorbed heavy metal, pesticides, and pathogen can release from the microplastic. So it can make additional problem, not only the microplastic, now the additional co-contaminants can affect the aquatic organism and the human health. So microplastic can act as a co-pollutant or a toxic cocktail carrier. So I will discuss about the toxic effect of microplastic on human health. There are different literature shows that it may causes the neurological damage, cardiovascular disorder, it may even causes the cancer, it may cause the disruption in stomach function, it may causes the obesity, inflammation, etc. There are several literature there which shows the potential health impact of microplastic. You can see in this literature. So today's talk, I will be discussing mostly on impact of microplastic on the urogenital health. It can directly enter to the reproductive organ, or the microplastic or micronanoplastic can cause hormonal imbalance. It can enter to the endocrinic, it can cause the endocrinic disruption, infertility, pregnancy, and fatal risks, and urinary system effects. In the schematic, you can see the impact of micro and nanoplastic on the fetus, offspring, and its various organs. Micro nanoplastic accumulates in uterus and ovaries, and it can cause the oxidative stress, inflammation, and cellular apoptosis. Functionally, it can weaken the uterine and ovarian tissues. It can cause the reduce overall reproductive efficiency and possibly impairs the hormonal regulation. In the uterus, implantation rates may decrease due to the microplastic presence. Again, the ovarian epithelial cells may undergo cancerous transformation due to the presence of microplastics. So what is the oxidative stress? When the microplastic enter into the human body recognize microplastic as a foreign particle. Then the microplastic when the microplastic can enter in the cell, it can trigger and can excess can produce the reactive oxygen species, which call the ROS. Then the ROS, when it is overwhelmed by the body's antioxidant defenses, then the oxidative stress occurs. In the picture, you can see that it can damage the cell membrane and even in the protein, and it can go inside and it can disrupt the DNA structure of the cell. So it can promote the inflammation, hormonal imbalance, and potential reproductive problem over a long-term exposure. The microplastic can also cause some male urogenital disorder. It can cause, it leads to testicle accumulation, reduces sperm count, mortality, morphology, and it can increase the DNA fragmentation. Plasticizer and bisphenol, which is present in the plastic, can often cause the reproductive and hormonal changes, and it can potentially contribute to the male factor infertility. So not only the fertility related thing, microplastic can also cause a problem in urinary tract. Micro nanoplastic often detected in human urine. There are some literature which shows evidence of that. It can cause some oxidative stress in the urinary tract, potential causes of long-term effects on kidney function and the bladder health. I understand here all the doctors are present. They can explain better on the disease related thing, but I will give overview of my research towards the removal of microplastic from contaminated water. As we all know that water is one of the major source of the microplastic contamination to the water. So I will discuss a brief about one of my research on that. So we all know that microplastic is a very tiny plastic particle, and the conventional water treatment process is sometimes face challenges to removal of that small tiny plastic particles. It may escape from the treatment unit and it may come into the treated water. So the conventional treatment process has some limitation for removing this particular micro and nanoplastics. For that, we need some advanced treatment technology for the mitigation of the microplastic problem. So in view of that, our research is to prepare, we have prepared one 3D hydrogel bead, which is made of some bio-based hydrogel, and we have added some innovative material inside its matrix, and we have fabricated one hydrogel bead. So hydrogel is basically a polymeric architecture cross-linked with two polymeric chain are cross-linked each other, and when it is come contact with the water, it absorbs some amount of water. Along with water, it also absorbs the contaminant or the pollutants. So in our lab, we have taken two model microplastic. One is the PVC, that is polyvinyl chloride. We generally use the polyvinyl chloride plastic in pipe, plumbing, and packaging agent. And in case of PP, that is polypropylene microplastic, we generally found in Swiggy, packaging product, rope, textile, the polypropylene plastics are there. So we take these two microplastic particles, and the size is less than 150 micrometer. You can see in these two images, these are the scanning electron microscopy of images of the PVC microplastic and the PP microplastic. We take these two microplastic model, and we have made a hydrogel based packed bed filter media. We pass the microplastic contaminated water through this hydrogel bed filter media, and we have observed 96% of microplastic is trapped inside the hydrogel matrix. So what are the mechanism behind the trapping of the microplastic? As I mentioned, hydrogel has some polymeric entanglement. Inside the polymeric entanglement, the microplastic getting trapped, and it is not releasing into the treated water. So the physical entanglement, along with that, in the polymeric chain, there are some attraction between the microplastic and the polymeric chain. These are the chemical attraction happens so that the microplastic is getting trapped inside the polymeric hydrogel bead, so that we can get the microplastic free water. In this two picture, you can see the real picture of the hydrogel, the piece of hydrogel, and we have tagged the microplastic, our prepared microplastic, with Nile red, so that we can check the presence of microplastic under the fluorescence spectroscopy. And we have observed that yes, microplastic is present in the hydrogel matrix inside and on the surface of the hydrogel matrix. So the successful trapping of microplastic we have checked. And this hydrogel media, we have patented this media, and we already talking with some leading industry to scale up this process. And the detailed technology is published in nanoscale journal last year. So now, what is the potential use of this hydrogel bed filter media? So before going to that, I will discuss about upcycling of the spent hydrogel. When this hydrogel bed filter media get exhausted with the microplastic, we generally throw this media into the landfill. Then it may get again recontaminate the soil. So we are not throwing the exhausted hydrogel, compacted hydrogel media. We trying to upcycle this exhausted microplastic exhausted hydrogel media by some hydrothermal process, and we are making some carbon nanoparticle out of this spent hydrogel, and we are trying to remove some other contaminant, like here the heavy metal chromium, to remove chromium from contaminated water. And it shows that excellent removal of this chromium from contaminated water using the upcycled hydrogel, spent hydrogel. So we are trying to upcycle and recycle the same media by different uses. So these are another direction of our research. Now, where to place this type of hydrogel packed filter media? We all know that our day-to-day used washing machine can emit tons of microplastic regularly to the environment. So if we can put this type of hydrogel packed bed filter media to the outlet of the washing machine, so we can protect our ecosystem and the aquatic life. So this kind of work is under process. We are planning to install this kind of hydrogel, making this kind of hydrogel based candle or cartridge, so that we can fit it this just outlet of the washing machine, so that we can protect the aquatic environment or the nature. Another useful use of this hydrogel based filter media is just to put it before the RO. We all have RO in our home, the reverse osmosis system. Reverse osmosis is a membrane based water treatment process. It can remove almost every pollutant, but the problem with the RO is that if we directly continuously hit the RO membrane with some high concentration of microplastic and other pollutant, the RO pore may get clogged and the life cycle of the RO may get reduced. To protect the RO life and to efficiency of the RO, we're trying to put a hydrogel based filter media just before RO to treat the microplastic contaminated water. Then the remaining water will get treated through the RO so that we can get polished water for drinking, clean and safe drinking water. So this is another practical way to reduce the exposure from microplastic exposure. Hydrogel based work is get promoted and press released in different national media outlet. So in the conclusion, I want to say that microplastic in water are an emerging urogenital health concern. From some existing literature, we have, in the PPT, we see that there are some real implication of microplastics in our urogenital health. And we need to control the microplastic pollution. That is the only, protection. There are 2-3 type of microplastic protection is source control technology are there. One is the plastic management, plastic pollution management. Another is the water contamination, removal of microplastic from water, as I mentioned. So these are the two main factors so that we can mitigate the microplastic pollution. One is the management of plastic pollution. Another is the treatment of water contaminated with the microplastic, so that we can have some healthy life, so that we can have some clean, safe drinking water for our life. And finally, we can have a future research prospect by a joint water clinical research, but by doing some case study on that for better understanding the effect of microplastic on urogenital health and develop some mitigation strategy on that. So this is the future research prospect. So I want to conclude this. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saumi. That was indeed a nice presentation. I just wanted to know, is all our bottled water safe for drinking now that you told? Is it done in this way? I wanted to know.
I know.
Yes, yes. As I mentioned in a recent report was published that in bottled water, there may contain lot amount of micro or nanoplastics. We may not understand the presence of microplastic by our naked eye, but there may contain some micro or nanoplastics. So I can say it is not always safe, but yes,
no, but
without
that fear you have put in us that not to drink anywhere outside water.
Yeah,
No, you
bottled
put
water.
such a
In all
fear.
our conferences, we have bottled water. That's why.
Drinking
yeah,
water only.
without having any alternative, we are consuming that.
Inevitable.
But
And what about the water
Right.
filters, arrow
Yes, at
water?
home.
What is your opinion regarding that?
yes,
Very
so that
good.
is a very good question regarding the RO. So RO can treat more or less everything, microplastic and everything, because the RO pore size is very less. It is less than 1 micrometer size. So RO can remove more or less everything. But why we are researching on that, you may ask me, because as I mentioned that RO, if continuously RO water is hitting with high concentration of microplastic and other particles, the pore of the RO get fouled with that microplastic. Then the RO, lifespan may decrease, and RO is very costly, very much costly, replacing the RO. So to protect the RO life, if we can put a specifically microplastic capturing or some other pollutant, if we want to remove some other pollutant to capturing this kind of pollutant, if we put that filter media just before RO, just like that, So you can protect the RO for its, long life. So you can provide RO its long life. That is the main problem. That's the main concern our. But your question is that my answer to your question is that yes, RO can remove almost everything, but our intention is not only removal, the sustainability thing. Like sustainability include the cost, the energy efficiency, everything. So in that point of view, my suggestion is to put some specifically some if your area is contaminated with some heavy metals, put some heavy metal removal cartridge just before the RO to protect your RO life. That is my observation. My
Yeah.
And one more thing, Swami, that copper, they say that you drink water in a copper-based vessels and copper glasses, copper containers. Uh, and what about the pots also, mud pots also? Now again, for the summer, they keep the pots and store the water and drink it. What's your
Yeah,
opinion regarding the copper
and
and
the mud
regarding
pot.
the mud pot?
Yeah, regarding the copper, yes, copper has some antibacterial activity. If you put your water in copper a pot, then copper has some antibacterial activity that is actually very good to drink copper. Drink water from a copper pot. So there is some scientific background behind it. So as I mentioned, it has some antibacterial activity. And regarding the mud pot, my observation is it can make your water more cooler. And that is the main thing. I mean,
More
it doesn't have.
contaminated.
No, actually, I don't think the mud pot can clean your water or something like that. But the porous structure of the mud pot can make your water more cooler than a plastic bottle. So that is the logic and reason behind this too.
Yeah, congratulations, Dr. Swami. It's indeed a very good talk, much
Thank you
needed
so
talk.
much.
I just
Thank you.
wanted to know, is there any effect of the non-RO filters? Because most of the middle class family, they will be using non-RO filters rather than RO filters. Are they effective in dealing with microplastic?
Yeah, so first of all, your location, is there microplastic contamination is there or not, you need to know. If it is not that much, so you need not to worry much, because if you are continuously worrying about that toxic things, then it will be very difficult. But in our urban life, where the exposure of microplastic, the contamination is very high, then we need to think on it. So that normal carbon-based filter media that we are using in our household, sometimes it is not sufficient for removing the microplastic and some emerging pollutant. For that, we need some advanced treatment technology. And in case of RO, as I mentioned, RO can remove all things. Sometimes the healthy minerals can removed by RO. And then there are some, advanced RO is there. They are adding some mineral into the water. There are some treatment
That's a,
technologies. Yeah.
that's a good take-home message.
Yes.
One more question, Swami. What
Yes.
about the boiling water and drinking? Can it
Remove microplastics. Huh?
Yeah.
boiling
So
water? Because some people they do not have that filters and other
Filters and
things.
all, correct.
Do
yeah.
boiling will help?
So I have an observation on that. Like, microplastic is not a dissolved pollutant in the water. So it is physically, present pollutant. It is, it can mix to the water, but it cannot dissolve. Just like salt, it cannot dissolve. So boiling can remove the pathogen or some bacterial contamination into the water, but boiling cannot remove the microplastic. But there are some controversy, like there are recently published one article. I forget the author name, but they are claiming that boiling water may remove some part of the micro nanoplastic. So there are still some doubts are there, but some of the researchers also claiming that no, boiling water cannot remove the microplastic or nanoplastic, as it is not a dissolved solid. So it will remain in the water. But my observation is boiling water only can remove the bacteria related, a disinfection related thing can be done through the boiling water. For other contaminant, we need some special treatment for that.
Okay, thank you.
What,
Thank you.
what
Yeah.
about this corporation water they're supplying na Kaveri water. Are they treated something before giving? I mean, there is some treated, no, chlorine or something.
Yeah. So
But
I just
have you done
show you
research on that microplastics in Kaveri water?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I also need to know on that. So as I show you, I mean the common flow chart of the conventional water treatment process.
This
So
is
you
the
can
one.
see that the water is coming to the bar skin, like the floating large plastic material getting screened through the bar skin. Then it is pumped to the I mean high rise chamber. Then
Yes.
coagulant is added, flocculation, coagulation. Some process are going on. Then filtration. Then the water is supplied to us from the river or the surface water, or for the groundwater also same process followed. But I don't think microplastic can be removed through this process, because as I mentioned, it is a very small plastic particle. It may escape from all the processes. So there is a possibility of microplastic, although it is treating to the conventional water treatment technology.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saumi. It was a wonderful talk. And thank you to Dr. Shilpa and Rajni ma'am
Thank you for
for
the
wonderful
opportunity. Thank you,
interaction.
Soga.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was nice listening to her.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
One more thing, all the conferences I was thinking, why shouldn't we have a glass bottles, which is difficult to maintain, but
I think
in
so. Some of the hotels they are supplying.
yes, ma'am.
Yes,
This
they
is
are.
Cost
yes,
effective
Some
ma'am.
are
also.
there.
When
Bottle water is
we go for the
expensive and
meetings, I think so they are replaced with the glass bottles.
I think we should have small glass bottles in all our conferences. We should make it mandatory.
true,
Yeah.
very
Some
good.
little help from our side to
Yeah.
the
I
environment.
think we need to carry our own water.
Yes,
That is
correct.
also the
Exactly.
We
That
best.
is
bring
That's
the
a
the
best
best
practice
option.
which
solution.
will bring down all these problems.
Yes.
Once it is, we get used to that, we can carry our own bottles. It is
Yes.
not a great thing. Very other places when we go, we carry our water bottles.
Yes.
No, same thing for the conferences. We
Conference
should say
also
that we
should
carry
carry.
our own bottles, and
Yes,
you can
madam.
fill the water there. If the
Yes.
water filters are there, no, and the
Correct.
water containers are there, we can fill our bottles with that water and then use it. It's a simple thing. We
Very
can just have to say. From start with Granavarsha. Please, all of you start with Granavarsha to bring your own
Yes.
water bottles.
Bottle.
Yes, ma'am.
Just one step you have to do. These are the things which we could do, which is in our hand. Probably we can do this.
That's a
Exactly.
fantastic idea, madam. Actually, it will
Yeah,
I have
solve a
been
lot of
telling
problems.
this.
I did in Kasoga, ma'am. I carried one small bottle and I refilled it.
That's what. See, if one can do, why can't everybody, ma?
Everybody.
All of us, Shilpa, we can do.
Yes, madam. Yes,
See,
we
we
should
carry
do
our
it.
bags. One
Yes.
bottle carrying in that
Yes.
is not a
Yes.
problem.
Correct.
Like in US, if you carry your own mug for the coffee,
Oh,
not eating the plastics, these
yes.
cups,
Correct. Yes.
they are appreciated and they are given some rebate, I believe, in the coffee shops.
Okay.
So like that, we
Yes.
have to carry our own bottles. See, once you make it a habit, everything will become a habit.
exactly.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
best solution. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everywhere we let us carry. Let us not have these plastic bottles at all on the tables in the offices.
Obvious. Yes.
Let every one of us carry the bottles. Simple.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We would like to go for the next session. I think we are already late by 10 minutes, but since it was very interesting, we went ahead with all the questions. So now we have our chairpersons, Dr. Nagratnama ma'am and Dr. Roopkala ma'am. Nagratnama ma'am, slide share.
Madam is a very popular
Hey,
personality
Hedama,
in
Sako.
BSOG. Madam doesn't want.
Wait, yeah. So, Aarti, just few words, Sako.
Madam is currently professor at Rajarajeshwari Medical College with a huge experience and
ನಾಗರತ್ನಮ್ಮನ ರಾಮಯ್ಯ
about the
ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ ಸೇರಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
urogynecology.
ವಿಜಯ ನಾಗರತ್ನಮ್ಮ ಅವರು ರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿದೆ
Ah,
ನಲ್ಲಿ.
right, madam. And we have one more chairperson, Dr. Roopkala madam. Madam is presently the professor and head of the department at Rajarajeshwari Medical College with a huge experience. So I welcome both of you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you, Vijay and Aarti, for that kind introduction. ಯಾಕೆ ಎರಡೆರಡು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? Yeah, it's
You have
my
switched
pleasure
on
to.
both, madam, mobile and laptop, maybe.
Okay, okay, okay. It's my pleasure to introduce senior faculty, Madam Sundari Madam, who is a senior
Enough,
consultant
Nagratna, everybody
at the
knows.
Memorial
Enough,
Hospital, and also she
enough,
is
enough.
also she was former HOD at MS Ramaya Medical College. She is a very well-known DNB teacher, and she is the founder, president of NGO Mahati Trust. Works for cervical cancer prevention awareness among rural and urban women of Karnataka. Recently, she was awarded with Lifetime Achievement Award from Katoga. Over to Madam on the Euro biomes, which are now taking a lot of scope in the management of urinary tract infection and other things. So, and its effects on the urogenital tract. Over to Madam for her talk on the urobiomes.
Thank you, all of you. And then Nagratna, thanks for those kind words. And I thank the Vijay and then Aarti for asking me to be a part of this webinar. And let me share my slides here, please. Can you see the slides?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's coming,
yes,
Madam.
ma'am.
Yeah, just now we heard about one of the causes for our microbiomes alteration or dysbiosis. She beautifully, Dr. Soumi has explained to us. And this is actually the urobiomes, and the urogenital health is a very recent one compared to other microbiota in the body. So, advances change the understanding of the entire urogenital health has been differently looked at now. It is not what we used to think of. Shift from focus from the disease treatment to the holistic approach, which incorporates urobiomes. Now, anything you talk about the microbes and microbiomes. Now, first thing is a urine sterile? Yes, of course, there's no doubt urine is sterile. If it has got a bacteria, we say contamination. If it is more than 1 lakh, we will say it is a urinary tract infection and we start treating. Now, to the extent that we don't even patient says simple urinary burning micturition, antibiotic is written and given, and more to the extent now the one more step is the patients themselves are taking. I had given 1 year back for urinary tract infection. Now they continue to take the antibiotic. This is the way we are going on step. We think still that urine is sterile. Now, these are the few things we need to understand that human body is no more sterile. We used to think we are very sterile body. Any bacteria, we get contaminated, we get infections. Not so. Human body has got billions and billions of microorganisms. So much though the ratio of microorganism to the human cell is 3:1, believe me. It is not from me. Okay, so microorganisms are much more than the human cells in the body. Now, it contains not only bacteria, but there are viruses, there are funguses, there are archaea, and then protozoas. All organisms are there in our body. Different places or different organs are harbored with these organisms. The main organs are gut, skin mostly, and the genital urinary. Now it is coming up urinary, especially genital tract. We know for the last 1 decade. And other places like even the lungs, ear, and mammary gland. These are all the places where we have predominantly the microorganisms. Now, these microorganisms, when we say microorganisms, we say it's infection, give antibiotic, cure it, no way. They live with symbiosis with the human cells and they work with the protection, they protect the human body by mainly two things. What they do is one is the immunity will be increased and immune modulation can be done by this, and the second one is they protect from the infections. This is what the myth what we have bacteria or microorganisms means equal to infection. We have to come out of that and we have to think we are living with the microorganisms in our body in day-to-day life. This is under which headings I'm going to talk about this topic. And I'm little hesitant, Vijay, because in front of a urogynecologist, I'm talking about urobiomes. Please excuse me if my talk is not to the level. I hope I'll try to do the justice, but really in front of you, little I'm hesitant. Vijay, okay, please bear with me. Now, these are the under the which headings I'm trying to cover this if time permits. Yes. Before we go into the subject, let us understand the terminology, what is used now in the literature about these things. What is microbiota, we mean? This is a group of organisms. Let it be a bacteria, fungus, protozoa. As I said, this is the microorgan. Group of it is called microbiota. And then what is microbiome? They set the title as a urinary microbiome. What do we mean by that? This includes microbiota, not only microbiota, but their entire genomes and their habitat and their functions, that is, their secretions. All this together, it is called microbiota. Now we have a word called eubiosis and dysbiosis. What do we mean by that? Eubiosis is having a balance of the organism, mainly a protective and useful microorganisms when we have in the body, we call it as eubiosis. When that balance tilts to the organisms which are pathological, that is called dysbiosis. This is very beautifully explained in the vagina. Vaginal microbiota, when you talk about it, how it changes. I'll just, next few slides, I'll show you how it changes to dysbiosis. Now, this dysbiosis is the main culprit for most of the diseases we talk about. Now, the little more into that microbiota and microbiome differences. The community of living organism is microbiota, an entire collection of the genes from the microorganisms in a specific environment along with their environmental factors and their products. That means enzymes, peptides, proteins, they secrete a lot of things. All these things together, it's a microbiome. And the composition is microbiomes themselves are in the microbiota or them into the microbiome. And microbiome contains all those things, genes, everything. And relationship is a component of microbiome is microbiota. So more comprehensive is microbes. So the research has brought in the knowledge about the microbiome and their role in human metabolism and immunity. Overall health, I told you, is managed by, we are surprised to know that entire human health is managed by this microbiota. Can we believe it? Can we digest it? Yes, we have to believe it. Now, what is the concept of this microbiome? It is not a new concept if we think of, even when we were students, we used to think of gut flora, intestinal flora we used to talk about. But what exactly is the intestinal flora's role and what is their meaning of this? We didn't know much about it, but we used to talk about gut flora, intestinal microorganisms. We used to talk much about it. They help in digestion. That was we learned in our student days, early services. We have learned that. But now it has become enormous knowledge about the gut microbiota, which has got a pivotal role for the entire body microbiota. The role of gut microbiota in health and disease is well understood over the decades. Now, the later, that means that is the oldest one is about the gut microbiota. How many in H. pylori we used to talk about? After some time, I think when we became consultants, we started endoscopy and then H. pylori, all these things we talked about. So it is there with us. But the later come the knowledge about the vaginal microbiota. Because of the repeated white discharges, this, that, and all in the same line when they our research is going on. Now we know definitely the vaginal microbiota. Now the latest addition is microbiota in the genitourinary system. There is an interrelationship between the gut, vaginal, and urinary microbiota, and they in the synchrony they react and they help in preventing the diseases and protecting the systems. Now, the main important thing, as I was mentioning, I think I mentioned, is the maintenance of homeostasis of the body, and the immune system maintenance is the main key functions of this eubiosis. Whenever there's a dysbiosis, now what happens? Everything can happen, everything can go haywire. That is starting from the inflammation to the infections to the cancer everything is attributed to the dysbiosis. As we say, epigenetics now. What is epigenetics? One of the most important thing in the epigenetics is again nothing but microbiota and microbiome. Now, the microbiome in different organs have different functions, especially the organ systems, and contribute to the overall health of the body. Now, if you take main thing is gastrointestinal, as we were talking, that is the main role is by the gastrointestinal microbiota. They help in digestion, metabolism, production of the energy, and they synthesize, help in synthesizing vitamin K and B12 in the system, and then immune regulation and immune modulation. And of course, inflammation. See, this this biosis, what it causes is a constant inflammation. As all of us know, when there is a constant inflammation in the body, that leads to many, many diseases, including cancers. Cancer is nothing but there is a constant inflammatory process going on in that particular organ that leads to the division of the cells and the cancers. So this dysbiosis can cause this microinflammation, and the eubiosis, that is the microbiota main function is to curtail this inflammatory process in the body. Now, coming to the gut microbiota, as I told you, anything you say, it is gut microbiota. Now, metabolic disorders, obesity, chronic diseases like Crohn's and IBS, colorectal cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and immune dysregulation, that is autoimmune diseases. All these things are attributed to the gut microbiota. A lot of literature is there, a lot of research is going on this. Now, coming to the genital dysbiosis, that's mainly the vaginal dysbiosis. What we know is very famous, nothing but it is called, whenever there's a dysbiosis in the vaginal microbiota, we call it bacterial vaginosis. As we know, bacterial vaginosis is nothing but lactobacillus is less, other organisms are more. That is dysregulation of what is to be there is not there more. Then one more concern for us as a preventive oncologist is the persistence of HPV infection occurs when there is a vaginal dysbiosis. And this is leading to the pre-cancerous and the cervical cancer, pre-malignant lesions, and the cancer cervix are mainly attributed to the vaginal dysbiosis now. Of course, it can be in the infertility, implantation failures, and then the PCOS, preterm labor. In fact, I had given one oration on this preterm labor and infections. That's a time, some 3 years back in Chennai. That's a time I read about it extensively and I understood what is vaginal microbiosis. From that time onwards, we use all these things in our practical day-to-day life now. Thanks to them asking me to, I was thinking, what is this infection and PTL? We know infection and preterm labor. But I went into 1 hour oration. I could give just one topic like that. So much is there to know about it, I mean to say. Then cervical, endometrial, and ovarian cancers are also. Cervical cancer, there's no doubt. Even endometrial and ovarian cancers are attributed to this. Coming to the urological problems. Why there is a recurrent and persistent urinary tract infection? We attribute most of the time to the diabetes for the women and men who have got it. Why the diabetes? Diabetic is an inflammatory process. When there is an inflammatory process, this dysbiosis occurs in the urogenital tract. That is the cause. We may give tons and tons of antibiotic, but unless we know the cause and the root cause, and then we tackle the root cause, these recurrent infections are not going to be treated. Unfortunately, I tell you my personal experience, I lost my mother because of the persistent urinary tract infection. Wouldn't get treated even with the meropenem infusions we used to give in the house, but it was not. And she succumbed to that urosepsis and we lost her. So that's one of the things. Now, urinary incontinence, interstitial cystitis, urinary pain syndrome, urinary stones, and urological malignancies. All these are again attributed to this. Now, coming to the urinary microbiomes, we'll talk about having microorganisms in the urine is not a urinary tract infection. We have to understand this and we have to digest this fact. Okay, the study of urinary microbiota is still in the early stage, not like a vaginal and the gut microbiota. Urinary microbiota are less abundant, less diverse compared to the other organs. Number of studies are less compared to those of the gut and vaginal microbiomes. Technical difficulty, because there is a contamination always from the vicinity, from the urethra and from the rectum. There is always a contamination to the urinary system. So the difficult for them to isolate this exactly the microbiota and eubiosis of the urinary tract. It is difficult for them to know. That's why the technical difficulties are there. Then composition of this urinary microbiota depends on age, gender, race, geographical distribution, and all other external things like, we just heard about microplastic. So that's also one of the things probably. Then what does this urinary microbiota action on the urothelium? Urobiomes that interacts with the urothelium and the mucosal associated lymphoid tissue in the bladder and the macrophages, and it supports the local immunity, and it helps in maintaining the integrity of the urinary tract lining. I mean, the abrasion in the urinary mucosa. I think Vijay can tell us about these things more than what I could say. Any abrasions in the urinary tract mucosa probably will lead to the infections. That integrity of the urothelium can be maintained by this microbiota. And urobiome interacts with the tissues of the urinary tract at a molecular level, and it maintains the urinary tract homeostasis. That is most important function of this microbiota. Very interesting thing is, how do we develop this microbiota? When do we get it? We get it in utero. That means the gut microbiota in the fetus, meconium used to be sterile according to us all these years, but it's no more, because the maternal gut microbiota will facilitate the fetal new gut microbiomes to form. If the maternal microbiota are maintained, as such, pregnancy itself can cause, because of the hormones, change in the microbiota during pregnancy in the mother. But if she is very conscious about her, especially the food habits and the stress, everything, a good microbiota in the mother during pregnancy will give a fetal microbiota. A good microbiota will develop in the fetal gut. From there, we will see how the gut microbiota can spread to all other organs. If she has a dysbiosis, then adverse metabolic outcome. The fetus, I always say now, for the pregnant women, now I say about the food, what they have to eat. Not these pizzas and burgers and all. Why I say no? I say you are writing your horoscope of your child when it is in the womb. Whether it has to get a diabetes, hypertension, cardiac diseases, or a cancers, you are writing because of your behavior. This exactly I'm telling all pregnant women now after going through all this. Now, this is the orchestra we have. The leader of the orchestra is the gut. From the gut, you have an access to every organ. Especially, we are interested in now the genitourinary system. There is a gut and the genitourinary system access. That means to say, from the gut, these microbes which are developed from the in utero time, it is developed, and it's up to us how, with our habits, we will develop what type of microorganisms we are developing in our gut is depending on us when we become independent. Now, this gut and vaginal and bladder microbes are interconnected, with the gut acting as a potential source of pathogens for the bladder. Vaginal microbiota play a key role in lower urinary tract infections. Disturbance in one system can entirely disturb all three systems and then cause concern diseases in the system. Now, this is again a beautiful diagram, I thought, how there is a bidirectional communication between the gut and then the bladder and then the kidneys and then the vagina. All these are interconnected. That is called gut bladder axis, vagina bladder axis, and then the organisms also, gut vaginal axis. All these axes are there. How do they come from the gut to all this? So this is the way from the gut, how the organisms will come to the other parts of the body. Mainly it's a bloodstream. From the blood it comes, and apart from that, there is the external environment. From the urethra, the rectum is in the vicinity. From the urethra, they can come. Rectum to the urethra, and then even they said that when I was reading about the vaginal microbiota, peritoneal cavity from the gut seeps through the intestinal walls and through the peritoneal cavity it enters the uterus and the vagina belly. So all these modalities are there for the spreading of this microbiota from mainly from the gut into these organs, other organs. Now, when you see that, that's why they said urinary microbiota is 60% of them are from the gut and 30% of them from the vagina. Difference in the gender, age, geographical situations, the climate changes and the nutritional values and hormones, especially in females. We talk about vaginal and urinary microbiota. Mostly the research is on to the females because estrogen has got a very major role in this altering or maintaining this eubiosis or dysbiosis. So, a lot of research is done in the, if I'm right, Vijay, a lot of research on this microbiota is done in females mostly. I think so. And then the common organisms are, these are the organisms, Pivotilla, Escherichia coli, Streptococcus, Citrobacter. Pseudomonas is present only in men and Cornybacterium is present only, Streptococcus is present only in men. Lactobacillus is more, even in the urinary microbiota, Lactobacillus is more in females for the obvious reason we know that. And these are all the microorganisms, again they said, these are all the organisms which can be there in the urological system. That is urobiota, it is called. Now, in the females, it is studied, as I said, that different age groups, depending upon the hormones effect, the microbiota changes in different age groups in females. That is studied. So, as you come to the perimenopausal and postmenopausal ages, the lactobacilli comes down. That's a time when they have a lot of recurrent urinary tract infections and the vaginal the symptoms like a burning and then atrophy of the vagina, all these things because of the lack of lactobacilli there. Now, the urinary microbiota homeostatic properties, what do they? They improve the epithelial defense system and the immune system in the urothelium. That is the most important thing. And it prevents infection like a UTI. It degrades the harmful factors in the urinary system which enter. These are the important things. Apart from other things, as we said, it interacts with the urothelium and the MALTs. All these things we spoke about. It competes with the pathogens and then it tries to prevent the infection to occur. That is the main important thing. Now, coming to the vaginal microbiome, I think Aarti wanted me to talk about a little about vaginal microbiome also. Just I'm including. The time permits, I'll talk about it. Healthy vagina and its microbiota play a pivotal role in both urinary as well as the genital system. Now, vaginal microbiota are divided into 5 vaginal community structure types. It is called CSTs. 5 vaginal community structures. These are again differ with the mode of delivery and pregnancy, as I told you, mode of delivery, age, ethnicity, even a menstrual cycle. These microbiota will be changing in the vagina. Now, estrogen influence, as I told you, is very predominant influence by the estrogen on this microbiota in females. Now, lactobacillus is the dominant flora in reproductive age group of this woman because of the estrogen again. We have 4 types of lactobacilli and 1 type of other organisms that is called the community 4. Community 4 is other organisms. Community 1 is the crispatus. I'll go into the details of it. Yeah. One is the lactobacillus crispatus, which is more important and very common and which maintains a very low pH in the vagina. CST2 is the Gesseri. This is also helpful. And the lactobacillus inserts are the one which can become dysbiotic very easily. It can cause dysbiosis. Then Lactobacillus jenseni is again a healthy vaginal state. Now CST4 contains all other organisms which we call it as bacterial vaginosis. Nothing but, that means what? The lactobacilli comes down in its predominance and other bacilli like Gardnerella, Provitella, and then the other organisms will increase in the thing that we know that index also, when you have a bacterial vaginosis, we will cause the index. We know how it is. The 2 tests what we do, mainly to know how much is the lactobacilli, how much is the other organisms. These indexes we use. That is because of this. See, these are all the 5 types of community state types of vaginal bacteria we have got in the vagina. This community state 4 can cause bacterial vaginosis, aerobic vaginitis. This is a new term, and yesterday I learned in our classes aerobic vaginitis, urinary tract infections, group B streptococcal infections, infertility, preterm labor, as I told you. Now, the CST4 can be, it is subdivided again into 3, A, B, C, and the C again is further subdivided into 5 additional subtypes, which I'm not going into go into the details because it depends on the group of organisms which are there in each group. They have grouped it. That I'm not going. These are all again the list of organisms which are good, healthy for us, or which are harmful for us. Now, eubiosis and dysbiosis is managed by how? Main thing what I try to tell is about the broad spectrum antibiotics. I just want to insist on that. For every small thing we give antibiotics. Patient comes with a vaginal discharge, first thing we would have given is antibiotics for her. Without even knowing, without even now to the extent that even the gynecologist also sometimes they don't even put a speculum and see, but they write and give. And each time she is not been relieved of the symptoms, she goes to other doctor, one other type of antibiotic is given. This I see very often in my practice. So this is the main thing which causes the dysbiosis of the vagina. Now, other things are, of course, I said hormonal alteration, menopause, again we have. Then the immunity, if she are, she's on immunosuppressant drugs or she's a HIV patient, all these cases and immune suppressant diseases like SLEs, all these things and drugs like immune suppressants like steroids, chemotherapeutic agents, all these things will alter the vaginal microbiota. And when it is altered, the list of diseases what we have is starting from pregnancy events, from the abortion to the preterm labor to PROM to genital cancers we can have. Now, this is interesting. I wanted to tell you is that not only the vagina, but even endometrium harbors the biota. Endometrium is not sterile. It harbors the micro. How much time I have? Please, can you tell me? Am I exceeding the time? Vijay or Aarti?
Ma'am, sir,
How
I
much
think
time I have, Aarti?
4 minutes, sir. Vijay, sir?
How many more slides are there, madam?
Maybe another 5, 6 slides or 10 slides.
Please, madam, please take your
Yes,
time
ma'am.
and
I'll try to finish off.
yes,
Okay, this
madam.
endometrial microbiota, what we call it as endometriosis and implantation failures are right and left in IVF pregnancies. We are hearing this is all because of the dysbiosis in the endometrial biota. Now we coming to the urobiomes and the urinary tract infections. Mainly, urinary tract infection begins when the gut resident uropathogens colonize in the urethra and then the bladder through specific adhesions, and then it can migrate even up to the kidneys, causing the pyelonephritis also, they say. If the host inflammatory response fails to eliminate these bacteria, you know the sequence is all this. Cystitis, pyelonephritis, and other things. Now, the causes for a urinary dysbiosis is again age, any indwelling catheters, barrier contraceptions, spermicidals, and then existed any urinary problems they have. Urologists know some things will be there where they are prone for a lot of urinary infections like diverticula, all those things. And another thing which I have marked it is antibiotic use. Antibiotic misuse, I can say. Every small urinary symptom antibiotic is given to that now. See, these are the organisms which are supposed to be there good, and this changes into predominantly E. coli in the dysbiosis. Now, this is the way how it spreads from alteration in the urinary microbiota, can be from the estrogen level and then the gut and from the vaginal microbiota. So, do we agree that urine is sterile now? It's not at all. So bladder harbors a diverse microbial community and maintains the bladder homeostasis. Then why again we are not able to diagnose them before? We do cultures. Why the culture is not grown? Now, one thing I observed is when the culture is grown, insignificant colony count is number one. Number two, microscopy of the urine, when we say there are my bacteria is seen. It is given in the thing, microscopy, bacteria are seen. Is it significant? I'm thinking now, thinking back, that insignificant colony count and the bacteria seen are the microbes, probably. Uromicrobiota, they are. Okay. And when the colony count is more than this, CFUs of 1,000, I mean, you know that 1 lakh, then only probably it is significant, the report is given as. And when the culture is done, it specifically does for the culture for single type of organisms. When you have a polymicrobial, the culture may fail to recognize. That's number one. Number two, these organisms to grow, they need a low oxygen environment. Whereas for the pathogens, E. coli and all, they have a higher oxygen environment. So that's other reason why they don't grow these organisms. And the media what we use, agar's media, I mean, a McConkey media, blood agar media, all these things may not be sufficient to grow these microbiota. And one more thing is when they form the biofilms in the uroepithelium, the culture cannot grow. These are the limitations why this microbiota we are not able to see in a culture. Now, other thing is the content. How do you collect the urine? See that even the except the aspiration, direct aspiration from the kidney, which is a very highly invasive procedure, everything else has got the contamination. Now, these are the tests what we used to do, routine urine microscopy, pus cells are seen, culture, and then antibiotic, and then antibiogram, and then treat them. Now, those days have gone off now. Now, what we do is the sequencing. That next generation sequencing has really revolutionized all these things. Now they have amplification sequencing and shotgun sequences. In the amplification sequencing, the most important which is used for the urinary as well as vaginal microbiota to know is 16S ribose RNA. This is the best thing to know all the microbiota of these systems. That is used now. It is the PCR based and then amplification. And there is amplification fractionation is the shotgun method. This is the way the urinary microbiota are identified. And I think these are the cultures which have to come into the practice hereafter for us. Now, antibiotic treatment of urinary tract. I mean, how do we treat this? Best thing is to treat the dysbiosis rather than the infection alone, especially in the recurrent infections. Yeah, infection is there, antibiotic sensitivity, we know we treat it. After that, what is it? There is a dysbiosis. We have to correct the dysbiosis to prevent the recurrent and persistent infections. That is the main thing now. This urobiomes serve as a biomarker for the diagnosis also, and they lead to a new treatment modalities for this urinary dysbiosis, which is the cause for urinary tract infection, which is about 150 million people every year get the urinary tract infection. About 60% of 70% of them are females. Now, how do we treat? What are the treatment options? The non-antibiotic treatment options are also there. Now, this is the way, see, what we are being treating this antibiotic, we are doing more harm than this. Dysbiosis we have developed. Because of the dysbiosis, again, it will go for the infections. Now the system is changing. Now we have to go for the host microbe modulation we have to do. Probiotics is the first one which is spoken about in the for the uro microbiota dysbiosis. Now, there are a lot of other things. I mean, interesting thing is microbiota transplantation, fecal microbiota transplantation, vaginal microbiota transplantation. These things will prevent, I mean, these things are tried in resistant and the recurrent and persistent urinary tract infections. There are many other things that have been proposed to, I'm sorry. Yeah. Non-antibiotic therapies are probiotics, as I said. Then D-mannose, which is to come as a Ayurvedic medicine for the repeated urinary tract infection, this cranberry and all. They say now they are good to certain extent because they prevent bacteria from adhering to the bladder mucosa, I believe. And then vaccines are very interesting thing is the vaccines have come up in other countries to prevent this infection. I'll just tell you. Then electrofiltration is the one minimal invasive procedure to burn and cauterize the superficial infection sites in the bladder by through cystoscopy. And then this is mainly used by the antibiotic recalcitrant UTIs. Then bacteriophagous therapy. Then this fecal microbe transplant therapy has come in a big way, and this has been though vaginal microbiota microbe transplantation is not that popular, they are still in the experimental stage. They are trying to put it into the vagina microbe from the healthy people, the vaginal microbiota, but urinary fecal microbiota has been established, and it is a lot of papers are there on that. Then antimicrobial peptides and the cytokines have been, now the cytokines as a L1, IL-6, 8 and 18 are elevated in the UTIs, and there are no UTI, this is 4 and 13. So they are using this to give the, getting it, targeting cytokines to improve this microbiota. Now, these are the vaccines which are there, either as a oral tablet or a sublingual. And then there are three types I could get in the literature, which is there in the Germany and other countries. They are using this vaccines, oral vaccines. They are either sublingual or oral vaccines for preventing or a resistant urinary tract infections. I think it's a good news. I'm not aware whether it's available in India. I think Vijay can throw a light on this for us. Now, concluding this, my talk, irrational use of antibiotics for urinary symptoms has resulted in multi-drug resistant urinary tract infections. Antibiotic therapy, vaginal douches, especially this V-wash, very popular. Use of sprays and spermicides cause vaginal dysbiosis and alters the urobiome through vagina bladder axis. Lifestyle and food habits are the main causes for alteration in the gut microbiota, which has pivotal role in maintaining the health and preventing the diseases. Judicious use of antibiotics prevent drug resistance. Lifestyle modifications help to prevent the dysbiosis. So save microbes and stay healthy should be our slogan to all our patients, and we must tell them everything, especially we as a gynecologist have to tell them about the microbiota vaginal and these douches, and then the costume. I mean, what is that? They use a lot of scents and the sprays on the genitalia. All these things have to be stopped. Just a pure, simple water to wash the genitalia is the healthiest thing. Thank you very much. And again, I thank Dr. Vijay and Aarti for giving me this challenging topic. Vijay, hope I have done
Indeed,
justice for the topic. If I have
indeed,
missed something or I've said something wrong, please correct me.
Indeed, I am very much grateful to you, madam. And when I discussed with Dr. Aarti, we could immediately come to consensus that it is none other than Sundari madam who can speak better on this topic. It's a
Thank you,
unique
Vijay.
topic.
Hope
And
I
I
lived up
also
to your.
thank you, and I also thank you for introducing Dr. Soumi Datta to our faculty fraternity. Indeed, our talk on the microplastic was very informative for all of us.
Yeah, I wanted to say
And
one word, Vijay. How this microplastic, she couldn't tell us how it is.
yeah,
The microplastics negatively impact the gut microbiota, which can cause dysbiosis in the gut.
and one
Currently,
more,
we are drinking the water and there's no microbiome. She was
yeah,
telling all the causes, I mean,
right,
what are the effects of microplastic on the genitourinary
right,
system. But how it happens is it alters the microbiome of the
right.
gut mainly.
Madam,
And
one
then
more
this
thing, madam.
microplastic damage the intestinal barrier, which turn and increases the intestinal permeability, and then accelerates the immune response in the liver, which is not very good, I believe.
Yeah.
So that is the microplastic helps in dysbiosis in this. Yeah, sorry, I
And
forgot that point to tell.
good, madam. Actually, one more, the reason, very reason why I included the microbiomes along with microplastic is that the microbiomes are the only organisms which can degrade the microplastics. And
Yes.
that's the reason we should encourage the usage of the microbes or the urobiomes specifically in order to combat these the menace with the microplastic.
Yeah.
That is one thing, madam. And when you were telling about the biofilms, that is the glycoprotein which is on
Yeah.
the bladder mucosa, that is again the contribution of the microbiomes, and
Yes.
which will combat with the organisms, especially the E. coli, which is a flagellated microorganisms. So I will hand over to the chairpersons.
Yeah, we have to congratulate Sundari madam. She always,
Thank you, Roop.
madam, you always, whatever subject is given, you make the best of it. And this
Thank
subject
you. Thank you.
and the urinary bioma, which is gaining more popular nowadays, as
Yes.
you have extensively explained in detail about especially the interaction between the gut microbiota, the vaginal microbiota, and the urinary microbiota, madam. It's an excellent talk. You have covered
Thank you.
every part of it. I just want to add up. There is a nanopore technology now, madam, coming up
Yeah.
for the study of vaginal microbiota in particular, and we are doing
Yes.
our college a research on that.
Oh,
But
very good.
probably this nanopore technology, if it succeeds, maybe it will come in a long way in investigating the urinary microbiota also. So probably our UTI patients, I mean, preoperative assessment by nanopore technology could go a long way in
Yeah.
preventing our infections, UTIs especially.
Okay.
That
Nice,
wanted to add.
madam. Very informative.
And
Very.
also, as you said, madam, this raspberries, cranberry, asparagus, chia seeds,
Yeah.
pumpkin seeds, the good old our Aji days, they used to say these are better.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think through the urinary microbiota a lot. So
Only thing
just
is,
I
I
want,
request audience to just don't use antibiotic
yes,
irrationally.
that is the
Unless there is a
first
real indication, please stop giving antibiotics for everything and anything. That's the one thing if we could do, we protect vaginal microbiota, so also the urinary microbes. That is the main thing. The
local
antibiotics
exam,
are causing the big role they have got in the dysbiosis. We
ma'am,
have to
local
stop using antibiotics.
you said local exam, they treat without looking at the vagina.
Yes.
There's
No,
infection.
we see every day, no? We see every day.
So
No
especially that
prescription goes without antibiotic. I don't know
goes
why.
always with antibiotic.
Yes, that's what we have to, all of us must stop, and then all of us must really, the youngsters especially, we have to, and especially the family physicians are the ones which use
Yes.
right and left antibiotics. How to, sir,
India has got antibiotic
Vigada sir is there, no?
83%.
Vigada sir, one talk for antibiotic abuse for all the family physicians. IMA, please, through IMA, please arrange a next one. These are the things which I have to do for the society, sir. We need to really educate the family physicians about antibiotic use and abuse.
I'll do that. I'll
National
do that.
Ma'am, one more
Yeah.
challenge is nowadays patients come after the antibiotic.
Yes,
They take over the counter. I
yes.
think in India, how to stop this is a big challenge. Over the
the
counter
government is
antibiotics are
thinking of
given.
stopping prescribing over the antibiotics over the counter. There was a survey they put up in the national news. 83% are antibiotic resistant. So that is why they are thinking of stopping it. I don't know.
See, WHO has given recently the India is the top in the list of antibiotic abuse. WHO has released
Yes,
it. See, we have to, somewhere we have to do this. For the family physicians, most of the prescriptions I see from the family physicians will have antibiotic invariably.
Ma'am, in
Yeah,
repeated
madam, that was
UTI, ma'am, 1 minute. Can we give this cranberry? The tablets
Yes,
will
you
come,
can,
no?
you can,
yes,
you
We can
can.
give, no, ma'am?
Yeah, you
Because,
can give.
yeah. Okay, okay.
And then
Madam,
probiotics are, seems to be very helpful, ma.
Yeah.
Okay.
In
madam,
this,
recently I
probiotics
heard
are helpful.
yes.
Now our aim should be to do the dysbiosis to eubiosis. We have to
Eubios.
convert. That should be our aim, rather than just giving antibiotic and trying to
Yes,
treat
yes, yes.
recurrent or persistent urinary tract infections.
Yes, yes.
ma'am, one
Yes,
of
please.
the patient having a urinary tract infection and post delivery
Hmm.
where she was resistant to even meropenem and landed up in puerperal sepsis, undergone hysterectomy, madam.
Yeah, it can happen.
UTI
Yeah.
in pregnancy,
I
landed up
don't know. I
in
lost my mother because of urinary sepsis and persistent urinary tract infection.
resistant to meropenem also.
Venom also. Now, see, the resistant, multi-drug resistant urinary tract infections are
Yes.
coming up. Am I right, Vijay?
True, madam, true.
Yes.
The most worst part of the nowadays practice is that we are coming across all these MDR, multi-drug resistant,
Resistant.
and this has become because of the inappropriate use of the antibiotics.
Correct.
Exactly.
That is the problem without
Mm.
evaluating properly, and
Yeah.
we should encourage the urine culture and sensitivity, and then we should encourage the physician to
Mhm.
use appropriate antibiotic. If
Correct.
not, then we will land up in the MDR. And the one more importance of these microbiomes is the same. We will slowly reduce the usage of the antibiotic and we start using the microbiomes, and which naturally combat the
Yes.
pathogens and the
Urothelial
microplastic.
protection. Yeah, urothelial
Immunomodulation.
protection will come up with that, I think.
It
If a
immunomodulates.
Yeah.
process,
Yes.
Madam, that was an excellent talk. Only you can do justice to this topic because I heard
don't
you
say,
earlier also, but only you
Nagaratna.
can do justice.
I think
And
whenever I need some prize, I must come to you people, Nagaratna.
and
Yes.
again, yeah, even in my practice, I started using this microbiomes a lot. Even for our vaginal infections, I've been
Yes.
using that. It's really giving a good results. And even in preterm labor, I think we are using a lot of this microbiomes. Really, it is
Okay.
very nice. And
Okay.
again, this culture sensitivity. Now, what the labs are doing is they're not testing the sensitivity to a common antibiotics. Earlier, we used to do the ampicillin, all that, but nowadays they're not only higher antibiotics; they're giving the
Yeah, Nagaratna.
sensitivity
Correct.
result. That is
Because they are
another
resistant,
drawback.
Nagaratna. Quinolones have gone from the picture.
Mhm.
See,
Yeah,
Narflax would have been enough. Quinolones have totally gone from the picture because
yeah,
they have become resistant now.
yeah.
These ones have gone. Cephalosporins have gone off.
Gone off.
Now, only thing we have is nitrofurantoin,
Nitrofurantoin. I know.
meropenem, and imipenem. Now,
Yeah.
just look at
But
it. After some time,
actually,
even nitrofurantoin will become resistant.
correct, correct. Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Hi,
Yes.
Sundari. Hi, Nagratna.
Hi, Jyoti.
Yeah,
Very
hi.
wonderful talk by
Madam, that
both
was
the
an
speakers.
excellent talk. It was
Yeah,
really nice to
really
hear
nice
Thanks.
you.
talk.
And
Very
it is
nice.
Thanks.
something, a new topic, and you brought about all the advanced
Yeah.
research and other things. Really nice. I
I
think
Thanks.
just wanted to, I
people
just,
should know about this.
yeah. Can you hear me,
Shubha.
Vijay? Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Shobha
Yes,
ma'am, yes ma'am.
please,
Yeah,
madam.
I'm audible, no? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I just wanted to congratulate both the speakers. Of course, I have heard Sundari on this topic, I think, earlier also, as Nagratna says. I think in one of the menopause webinars we have heard.
It was antibiotic stewardship.
Reverse,
Yeah. So that's
Antibiotic
the
in
other
Vice,
stewardship
thing.
we spoke
in
Yeah,
about. Yeah,
that's the other
we,
thing I
uh,
was coming to, that
Chancery Pavilion, we had
every,
this. We had
Mm.
heard.
yeah.
Yeah.
So every hospital should have these two things in place. One is the hospital infection control committee, which I think people have woken up to and they have it. And the other one is antibiotic
Antibiotic
stewardship,
policy. Hospital antibiotic policy.
hospital antibiotic policy,
Yes.
and their own individual protocol for upping
Yes.
the antibiotic, like
Every
change of
department should
antibiotic.
have that.
Yes, yes. So
We
antibiotic
have in
stewardship.
Ramaya, we made a booklet,
Yep.
Shobha.
All
Yeah.
medical
I was in
colleges
the
almost
committee
had.
and we made a booklet. Each department had given their own protocols, and so
Yes.
much so that in the pharmacy, we kept only those drugs.
Correct.
Those
And
antibiotics
it is
only were
a
there in the
kind
pharmacy.
of a little dynamic protocol because it depends on what organisms are growing currently, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
And then also the cultures from the OTs and the cultures from the labor rooms, periodic cultures. That is also very important to check, what are the resistant strains emerging, so that we can also be very cautious. And Nagratna is, somebody said, no, Rajani, somebody said that, I think Shilpa Shri, that routine antibiotics are not being tested. I have also got that, I also got that experience that urine culture, they are keeping out nitrofurantoin, whereas E. coli, when it grows, the first choice for us is nitrofurantoin. I just wanted to ask Dr. Saumi one question.
Yes.
Hmm.
Sure.
Do you have any ongoing clinical trials with you on this microplastics and the impact on clinical health? Do you have any ongoing currently, for which we can anticipate, which we can participate? Kasoga can participate in any way. And that is my interest because you're a scientist.
Yeah,
and
sure.
a researcher, and we are clinicians and we would like to become researchers also, though we do in
Yeah.
part, but we are very much, unable to participate in structured research, no, which comes for all of you. So
Yeah.
I think if you can tell
Yeah. So
us, yeah.
yeah, so currently I'm not clinically test any microplastic containing, urine or other samples, but I am very willing to collaborate with the,
Yeah, in the sense,
hospital.
I just wanted to know if you will have permission to do that on animals or anything like that, anything on biological research, any projects are there. That's what I
Yeah.
was interested in knowing. Yeah.
Okay, so currently I don't have such, collaboration, but I'm very open to collaborate on that. And I just want to add another thing. I recently start working on hospital wastewater management, as you all doctor discussed that antibacterial resistance genes. So my work will be focused on to check in the hospital wastewater what pharmaceutical pollutants are there, what are the antibacterial resistance gene, how to remove that, how to degrade this, because it is very difficult to remove. It is very stringent pollutant. So there are some emerging technologies are there, like photocatalytic degradation technology. So we are trying to explore on that side also. As you all know that ISC will soon open a hospital. So we are expecting a huge number of wastewater will come. So as at the hospital wastewater may contain different other type of complex pollutants. So in conventional water treatment again may fail to remove that pharmaceutical antibacterial resistance gene removal things. So there must need some specific treatment technology on that. So we start working on that. It is under process currently. So we will love to connect with you all if we need any help or any
Yes,
analysis
so
based
let
help.
us know. Let us
Yeah,
know if we can contribute to your research in any way. We can
definitely.
become part of, because many of the doctors in Kasoga have their own hospital units.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
have, and they will be able to give samples if you include us in a structured way. So you can always collaborate with Kasoga for this, for
That
any
will
of
be
your
great.
research trials. Yeah.
That will be. I
So please,
definitely contact.
I think Dr. Vijay Kumar will alert us if there is any input from your side, and we will be able to collaborate. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Sunil.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We would like to conclude today's session. It was
Vijay,
a
just
Yes, yes.
2 minutes. I know we are
ನಾವು
overshooting our time.
ಏನಂದ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ
Please
ಅಂದ್ರೆ
Just
tell,
two
sir.
minutes.
ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ
Bear with me.
ಸ್ಪಾಂಟೇನಿಯಸ್
I want to comment on
ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್
four
ಮಾಡೋಣ
things.
ನೋಡೋಣ
One is with
ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಇದೆ
about Sundari madam.
ಇದು ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್
which
Yes,
is
sir.
One is
Yes, sir.
Sundari madam. Madam, hats
Yes.
off. Three things.
Thank you.
Whatever subject is given to you, you go to the depth and you make the real justice for that.
Thank you,
Second thing,
Dr.
Namrata madam,
Gadas.
your
kindly mute
t-
the mute the mobile, madam. Kindly mute. Please
second
tell,
Gayathri,
thing,
sir.
mute your
Durgadas
mobile.
sir, please tell, sir.
first thing, the given subject, whatever subject is given to you, you are doing the justice to it by going to the depth of the things.
Thank you.
Second thing, you are the teacher of teachers. See, even though one knows the subject, the way of portraying the things, how you convey it to the public, you are really a teacher of teachers. Third is about the concern for the society, what you have. I will try to collaborate with the IMA. I will, I will not assure you, madam. What I once I assure you, I will take it up seriously. I have
Yes.
very short time now, and 4 5 months to go. I don't know.
Four,
I will
five
try
months
to
is a
do that.
long time. You can do.
No, no, I
You
have
assure
some
me,
other,
please.
lots of other
Today,
projects, madam.
in front of all of
No,
us,
no,
you
lots
assure
of
you will
projects are
do
there.
it. You
Lots
will
of
do it,
projects
I
are there,
know.
ma'am. Lots of other projects are there, madam. Yes, okay.
No,
One
but
thing.
this is for the society. See,
I know, I know. I will try
WHO
to do
is
that.
banging on us saying that the maximum abuse of antibiotic is in India.
I will
And
try to do that.
resistant strains, multi-drug resistant strains is the cause for concern. May not be for me, Durga Das, my tenure is over. But
I,
all of you youngsters,
I
what
know,
do
I
you
know
do? There
that.
are no antibiotic. To treat a urinary tract infection now 10,000 rupees because of the meropenem is the only one, which we used to treat with ampicillin and the Narflox, which used to be 10 rupees before.
I'll
From
talk
that
to,
day to this
I'll
day,
talk
I've
to the
been
IMA
seeing it.
president and
Yeah,
I'll try
please.
to do
These are
that.
the
Sure,
important things what we have to
sure,
do rather
sure,
than
madam.
other projects. I
Sure,
think,
madam.
sorry
Yes.
for taking
No,
liberty with you.
no,
I
no, no. I know you
so
have that liberty. Okay. Second thing, Soumil, you did a very good job. Thank you and congratulations. Vijay Kumar, excellent topic you have taken and excellent speakers. And one thing which has not been noticed is Arati's invocation song. Every time it was recorded, but today you sung such a melodious song. Nobody,
True.
I forgot to appreciate that. There is a reason I pitched in now. Thank you for the program you have given to Kasoga. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
thanks
sir.
a lot, all of you again. I enjoyed it.
We have
Thank you.
Nightingale
Thank
in
you
our
I
all
learned
for
many
living
things.
NH
Yeah.
committee.
giving
Yeah,
us the
I thank the
opportunity.
organizers,
Thank you
Kasoga
very much, sir.
and Dr. Vijay Kumar, and also Dr. Aarti for involved us in this very important CME. I think we got a lot of information and we improved our knowledge. Thank you.
Thank
I
you,
for
Thank you,
I
Dr.
Dr.
Vijay
formally
Kumar
Sir
and Dr.
Aarti,
Aarti.
for
Yeah.
giving me the opportunity to participate in as a chairing the session. And it is a useful topic. I think so. Furthermore, research Swami has to do
Yes.
in our OBG practice in
Yes.
infertility and extra other things which are needed for the.
Right, madam.
Thank you.
Right,
Thank
madam.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay Kumar and
Thank you, one
thank you,
and
Dr.
all. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much.
thank you all
Blessing
for
you.
I would like to conclude the session by formally thanking each and every one of you. Special thanks to Durgada sir and Shobha ma'am for giving me this platform. Vijay sir for encouraging me to do whatever I have been doing. And sorry if I have made any mistakes. And special thanks to our chairpersons, Dr. Nagratnama ma'am, Rajni ma'am, Roopkala ma'am and Dr. Shilpashri. And no words to thank Sundari ma'am. I'm overwhelmed and very, very, very happy to listen to the talk. Even though it was a short notice, ma'am has done a wonderful job. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, Dr. Somi. Without meeting you directly, we were able to, coordinate and have such a wonderful talk from you too.
Thank you so much
Sundari
for the
ma'am, for
opportunity. I learned
introducing.
many things from here. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And special thanks to Sundari ma'am for introducing
Multiple, please.
Saumi also. Yeah. Thank you all.
Thanks
And
a lot for
Good
giving me
night.
this challenge. You and Vijay has given me a challenge. I hope I give up to your expectation, Vijay.
definitely, ma'am, definitely. More than our expectations.
You
Thank
are
you.
our
Good night, all
challenging
of you.
star, madam. You can take up any challenge. That's the reason we look forward for you.
Thanks a lot for keeping that much of confidence in me. Boost my this morale, and then I'm because like this because of all of you, Vijay.
No
Because Aarti said,
exaggeration.
no, madam, you have to do this. I
Yes.
said, urologist is there. You ask Vijay. No, madam, you only have to. We know that, madam. You will do, madam. Please.
Yeah.
See, that's a boost I get, moral boost I get from all of you still to go on like this. Thanks a
No, I told
lot.
you, no, madam. We immediately come to the consensus that you are the right person
Correct.
Thanks a
because
lot. Thanks a
this
lot
is
for
a
keeping
unique
that
topic
confidence in
and
me.
we need some dignified the specialist like you to who can talk on these microbiomes and make audience understand in a better way.
Yes.
I hope I did that.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank you.
lot.
Good
Good
night.
night, all of
Good
you.
night. Good night.
Good night.
Have a-
Good night.
Thank you.